What's up, you guys? My name is Victor from Trading Stoically, and I did not trade stoically last night whatsoever. As you can tell from the title, I broke my rules. I no longer eligible to have 30 good trades in a row because I broke my rules. And we'll kind of get into the psychological aspect as to what could have led to this and what could have been better. Um, but I broke my rules. You'll see here that um, onto the Express account. Yeah. So, not fun. Definitely not fun, especially too whenever you're like, okay, what can I do, to improve? How can I get better? Um, I just didn't really do a good job of managing my emotions and managing risk. And again, we'll kind of get into that. I want to get into the trade first, and then we'll kind of talk about um, what could have led me to making those decisions, right? But I can tell you for a fact, I definitely did not trade stoically last night, and I'm kind of disappointed in myself, but I also to forgive myself as well. I don't want to dwell on it too much just because of the fact that we're all human beings. We all make mistakes. And these things happen, and if I can figure out, the triggers for these things, and maybe it's like, okay, maybe on days that you're feeling a certain way, you just don't take a trade. So, real quick, let's go over the trade and then we'll kind of talk more about the psychological aspect. Coming into last night, right? So, Sunday night, June 8th, 2025, 8 p.m. Eastern. I always trade from 8 to 11 p.m. Eastern. Um, you can see this is the candle that we started with, right? We have our zone set up here. We are bearish, right? Because we're coming down. We opened here, 6 o'clock. Let's kind of take that away real quick. So we opened here, came all the way down. Now we're starting to base a little bit, starting to try to come back up, but we did not as of yet, right? So still have our zones. Let's fast forward a little bit, right? So this is cool. We broke this, but it's prior day value area low, right? So we had broken it, and we had broken it on a decent volume, actually, right? Not the highest of highest volumes, but we had broken it, hit prior day value area low, came back down, right? So that's what I initially saw first. I still felt we were bearish, but once I saw that, I was like, okay, maybe we can kind of switch our bias to bullish. We continue, the volume profile is getting larger in these areas here. I remember last night I actually had my volume profile set up here because of the fact that this is a key area, right? And the volume profile was getting a little bit larger here. In reality, it really should be here. It really should be there. But let's kind of put it to where it was last night, how I put it last night. So now we start coming down. I'm thinking, okay, we might be bearish here, right? Let's see what continues to happen. Continue to slide over. We had news last night, China's CPI. So here we're starting to get closer to that bottom range. We have support down here at the 730s, right? So still, this is a key point right here where I would eventually set my stop loss. Right here we have green candle, high green candle, but rejecting off VWAP immediately, right? On decent volume, not the highest, decent volume, but then continuing lower on higher volume. And then we break the zone. We break the zone, excuse me. So here's already part one of my setup. I was finally getting excited because I was like, okay, cool, I can finally take a trade. It's been so long since I've taken a trade, right? We start continuing lower, but one of my rules is that we don't buy at the bottom, right? So that would be considered the bottom. I needed to come back up before we start heading lower. So I defer on that, but then we start bouncing back up, start bouncing back up. I'm like, okay, maybe not. But then this candle happens right here. I actually don't take this. The reason why I don't take this trade is because of the fact that I felt like this wasn't high enough volume at the time. However, if you start looking back on these trades, 494 volume, 437 volume, 456 volume, right? Except for this candle at 931, which is when China CPI came out, right? Except for that, the statistically significant volume, and then obviously going back to 921, or 1021, the statistically significant volume was in the 400s. So this would then later influence what I do. Not here, not on that candle, but there's another candle right here, 450, right? So I'm like, that is high volume. I was wrong. That is not high volume, right? And we'll kind of go as to why. So I was like, okay, I can take the trade here. Of course, I end up taking it at the very bottom before it starts reversing up. So I'm like, oh man, like it consolidated, and this had to be some of the worst chop I have ever been a part of, some of the worst chop I have seen, right? We start bouncing back up. My stop loss is here above 756 because that's a clear pivot point. I was thinking my stop loss could have been here as well, but I wanted to give it some more room to breathe and I have VWAP there as well, right? So from literally this point on, you can see what time it is. It is 12:17. I took this trade, what time? 11:10, right? So one, I don't trade past 11, but I did last night. We'll kind of go into that in a little bit, right? That was my first mistake. Second mistake, my stop loss should be here. That's a key pivot point. I'm just always afraid that, oh, what if it comes all the way up and then comes back down, doesn't hit my stop, which actually happened right here. Touch of death right here, but rejected off VWAP and came down. So I'm thinking, oh, we're good, you know? Let me see if we can add some more, right? I think we end up having a big red candle right here at this level, 1240. So I added a few more, right? At this point, it's almost 1 a.m. We've been stuck in this chop for so long. My girlfriend's calling me to go to sleep, right? Or at least to come lay down. I didn't. Again, for other reasons too, though. It wasn't just for trading purposes, right? But then we bounce again, we reject off VWAP, but at this point we've based for so long, I'm thinking we're wrong in the trade. Okay, then we come back down. You could see what kind of emotional roller coaster that this market is playing, right? So up, down, all around, up, down, all around, up, down, all around. But at this point, I kind of know the writing's on the wall. It's 2 a.m. I ended up closing out here. Just well, first initially, I actually closed out here, got back into the trade around the 740s, right? But my stop loss again above this candle, so that was already a mistake. I'll have to show executions too. I just didn't want to right now. So here, I mean, look at the time. Finally get stopped out. And I reversed my position going up, and then I reversed my position coming down. I was emotional. We came down, up, down. I got stopped out. I reversed it going back up. We come back down. I get stopped out, and then we continue higher, right? And that's where my account was closed. So let's actually put on executions because, oops, sorry. That was not good for me, right? You can see it was an absolute mess last night. I think the first initial trade was fine. I was just wrong. But going past my time of trading, adding so many contracts, I had 12, 9, things like that, it just got me. So that was the end of the funded account. And it's been a good run. I'm appreciative. Now, you're probably wondering, you're probably, yeah, it sucks to see this notification. You're probably wondering, well, what happened? Like why did you tilt? Why did you get into this mode? You know, like what caused you to be in this, essentially? And the answer is very simple. Whenever you have things going on in your life, whenever you have, other things affecting you, it's very easy to allow that to um, enter your trading. And that's exactly what happened to me last night too. It entered my trading to the point where I didn't even realize it. And I don't think most people do realize it. Even myself, I would consider myself a very aware person. Um, Obviously, I meditate, I journal, not just my YouTube journal for trading, but just a personal life journal. I've been doing that for a little over 6 years now. June 3rd, 2019 was the first day that I started daily journaling. And even before then, I was doing like weekly journals. And even before then, dating back to undergrad and school, 2013, I was doing monthly journals or once every, 6 months journals. So I've been journaling for a very long time. Now I consider myself a very aware person. But when it comes to trading, it's a constant battle between yourself, and your emotions and being able to put them aside, not feeding into basically what your mind is telling you to do, right? You have to use logic, which involves your mind, but the not the emotional aspect, right? And last night or yesterday as a whole, I was so looking forward to having a day off. Just taking my time before trading Sunday night, and I'm playing Pokemon Go, and my neighbor calls me and says, "Hey, Victor, I think I need to go to the emergency room. Can you come and help me? I think I hurt my ankle." Right? At the time, my neighbor forgot that I was a physical therapist. So I was like, um, here, let me help you. Because he was trying to get himself into the car by himself so he can drive. It was his right ankle. Obviously, you drive with your right foot. And I was like, no, like, let me come downstairs. Let me check out your ankle first, and then I will take you to the emergency room if we have to go there. So I live in America. And it is very difficult, in terms of like healthcare, right? To not be worried about finances. You have to be worried about finances as an American. And that sucks. That sucks. When you go to the hospital or when you go to urgent care, the first thing shouldn't be, oh, like I need to figure out where I can go that's cheap. It should be I need to take care of myself and I need to take care of my health. And Um, yeah, this is just a good reminder to myself that I need to improve. But whenever you go to, or whenever you're in that type of situation, I remember last year I had that type of situation too, where I had to go to the emergency room, and um, I was thinking about the money. It's been about a year now, maybe a year to the day. I can't even remember, but this month, last year, I went to the emergency room. And I'm still paying the bill for that every month. I'm still paying for the bill for that every month. And it sucks whenever you have to, you know, pay an exorbitant amount of money um, just to take care of your health. But that is America. So I suggested to my neighbor, hey, actually, let's just go to urgent care. If you go to the emergency room right now, it's going to be a lot of money, right? They're going to tell you the same thing that urgent care will tell you, but maybe urgent care doesn't have as many resources as the emergency room hospital does, but let's just go to urgent care. When I assessed him in his living room, I didn't think he had an ankle fracture. I just thought he sprained his ankle, right? On the outside of his foot, it was quite a bit of swelling, but I just thought he sprained it. I did the Ottawa ankle rules, foot and ankle rules, where I checked to see if he had a fracture. It didn't seem like it, but obviously I don't have a tuning fork, right? So I know that sounds like a bunch of physical therapy. Essentially, there's some rules that I can check for a fracture, but there's like a item that you can use as well to see if a person has a fracture. I didn't have that. I didn't think he had a fracture. Go to the urgent care, drive him. Turns out he has a fracture after doing some x-rays, so that was shocking to me. But not only that, his blood pressure was so high, it was dangerously high. So they suggested to him that he goes to the emergency room, the place that we avoided in the first place. Um, but he said that he'd been through this before with his blood pressure, and that he thinks it's because of the injury, and he just wants to go get something to eat, head back home, and then afterwards, he'll check his blood pressure and hopefully it's calmed down by then. So I was like, it's up to you, whatever you want. Um, we can do it, And I think going through all of that stuff yesterday reminded me of last year where I'm like, oh, I have so many bills to pay. I got to pay for an MRI. I have to pay for my emergency room medical bill. It's honestly very stressful, especially if you're tight on money. Um, definitely very difficult for me. So after that, um, we go and we get some sushi. It was really good sushi. Um, go and get some sushi. We're talking and stuff, just making conversation. Afterwards, I take him back, drop him off. I'm finally home. Finally can rest. Watch some soccer, Nations League final. Shouts out to Ronaldo. Talk to my family on the phone. We always have a Sunday night phone call as well. My girlfriend's been out all day, so with her family, so I'm trying to clean, make sure everything is good. Um, Feed her a rabbit as well, and then she gets home. So everything is fine. Start trading at 8 o'clock. NBA Finals is on too, so I'm kind of watching, waiting for my alerts. And then at 9 o'clock, my neighbor texts me. He's like, "Hey, my blood pressure is still crazy. I'm gonna go to the emergency room. I don't think I need your help because now he has crutches. They wrapped up his ankle. Um, he's like, I think I can go myself. I'm like, no. I told him, no. Your blood pressure is very high. It's very dangerous. It could lead to a stroke. You have a hurt ankle. You still can't drive with your right foot. I'm gonna take you." So last night, um, I think at that time I had already entered, or I hadn't entered a trade yet. I was just looking, right? Take him to the emergency room. I drop him off there because I knew it would probably take several hours. Come back, enter a trade. Trade not going well. It's about 1 a.m. now. He texts me, okay, I'm good to go now. I can come get him. I'm still in the middle of the trade, but I have to drive to the emergency room, pick him up. I'm tired. My mood is soured, right? Because I'm in the trade that it's not working out. It's working, then it's not working. It's working, then it's not working, right? All of that chop that I just explained. And then, come back, drop him off, and then I end up losing the trade. So it definitely was emotional yesterday, right? Something I was talking to my girlfriend about is that I don't really have days off. It's not really a thing for me, you know? Obviously, I trade Sunday night through Thursday night, but then also I work Tuesday through Saturday. So if you think about it, if I'm trading Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, right? That's Sunday through Thursday that I'm working, I always say I have two full-time jobs, trading is one of them. It's not, but I want it to be. Um, so that's one of them. The second one is work. I work Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So if you think about it, literally I work till Saturday from Tuesday, then I trade Sunday, Monday, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday I'm working while trading. So it's like there's no break. I have no time. And maybe I need some time off. Now last night was just last night was just one bad day, you know? And I don't believe that it was a continuation. We took a trade. It was a little bit outside our criteria. It didn't work well. I'm still trying to figure out Asian session volume leading into London session. I don't ever want to trade that late again. Um, so still having to figure that out, figuring out ranges. Ranges are also very difficult for me, which I think I will start learning ranges probably starting next week. Because I want to be able to trade that confidently. I want to be able to learn how to identify a range. Like last night, looking at the chart, it's like, okay, we're basing, we're not heading any lower, right? Continuous higher lows or same lows, equal lows. Um, but then lower highs, lower highs. So that's kind of prime for we're heading higher. It looked like anyway. Um, and that's something that we have to get better at, and that's something I want to continuously improve at. So, um, it's so funny too. My rabbit, we play music for him because he's so used to music, especially at night, because rabbits are nocturnal. So while I'm trading at night, my girlfriend's sleeping. We have the Alexa playing Andy Grammer, and it is so funny. It's so funny when you're getting clapped by a trade and you just hear Andy Grammer with his motivational music. But actually, funny enough, one of the things that he was saying as I was losing last night is to be kind to yourself. Um, because we're human, we all make mistakes, and I have to be kind to myself. This is one of those things that you don't want it to be um a continuation. You don't want it to be constant, right? But we've had this funded account since April 22nd, as you can see. April 22nd, it is June 9th where we blew the account. So it's like, that's awesome. You kept your funded account for that long, so and we got a payout from it too. It's not like we blew it and we didn't get a payout from it. That's why I thank God that I was able to get a payout. So I'm happy with that, and we move on to the next one, which we now have four funded accounts, which is crazy. Now, what happened last night? How do I have four funded accounts? Well, I was continuously being a degen, right? And not really being a degen. I actually took my setup, but I didn't even realize I did, right? Because I was just so focused on trying to pass those accounts. Again, talking about being kind to myself, I continue to spiral in a sense of, okay, we got this breakout now. We are now breaking that zone, right? You can add this top part as part of the zone, but in reality, it's like you want something that's significant, and these areas are not. These areas are. So you broke the zone, right? You want to wait for a pullback, right? Into the zone now. We're now getting a pullback into the zone, right? Then afterwards, you want to confirm on high volume, right? So we got a pullback into the zone. Want to confirm on high volume. There it is. You enter here. Stop loss comes here. And then afterwards, your goal is obviously these highs. But if you can hit 800, which is a psychological level, um, that's what you aim for. So actually, the zone would have moved up here, but you still broke it. High volume after a pullback. So that's awesome stuff. And then you continue higher and higher and higher until you hit that 800 level. Um, and that's the trade I took. Now, was that my setup? Yes. Did I know it was my setup? No. I had no idea. I did not care. You can see this is like 4 in the morning. I actually went through my struggles, my fair share of struggles with this too, because I was like, I'm using like 5 NQ contracts again, trading like a degenerate. My stop loss was here. If it had gone below there, I would have lost the combines too. Now I know my rebuild date is coming up, so I was also thinking about that too, stupidly as well. But the trade did end up working out. I didn't know it was my setup until after the fact. You know, I was like, oh well, at least that's my setup. But still, and that's what I mean by being kind to yourself too. It's like you can't have this continue, but at the same time, you understand why it happened. And you try to limit yourself from not occurring to you, you know? And yeah, So we ended up passing the other four combines, which is great, but at the same time, I'm still a bit disappointed in myself for going through all of that stuff, you know. At the time, we were only about $800, $850 on each account from passing the combines. So it wasn't that much, but then obviously we had lost $800, so we had to make $1,600 back. That ended up, um, you had to double the amount that you made in order to pass. So I'm grateful that I passed, but at the same time, it's like, you know, we were close to passing the right way, you know, and we didn't do that. Instead, we took our setup, but we didn't know we took our setup, you know. We passed the account, but we oversized to pass the account. So it's things like these where it's like, cool, you passed, but now, it's like, okay, you've been given a lifeline, so start trading well again, and you're gonna get some payouts, and you're gonna do well and stuff. But I've always heard that, I don't want to put this as an omen or a death omen, but it's like how quickly you pass your account is how quickly you'll lose it, which isn't necessarily the case, right? Especially if you have a good strategy and you're just sizing up, especially on a 50K account. If you have a good strategy and you're sizing up, you're taking your trades the way you're supposed to, and they just end up losing, then they just end up losing. You just have to try again, right? So that's not necessarily the case, but in my case, I didn't do it exactly the right way. I did take my setup in the end, but I had no idea, and I have to be fully transparent about that. So, look, we did end up passing. We have four funded accounts now, so um, we will activate those. That's about $600. Funny enough, that's kind of like my payout. My payout was $692. I think that's something that is great because now these accounts are technically free, almost, kind of. Not really, but we will take them slow. I'm not gonna try to kill myself on risk. We're just gonna take the right trades. We've learned from our mistakes too, right? So obviously this based, right? We did break the zone here, but we came back up and it based, right? So that's kind of clear sign that we're gonna break higher, which we did. Um, we learned that we need statistically significant volume. So at that time, the 450s, it looks great. While it looks great, it's not really giving you the volume that you need. Another thing too that I kind of thought about as well was the macros. We had a bank holiday, CHF for the CHF. I maybe it was China. No, I think CNY is China. CHF, I'm not sure. But French bank holiday, German bank holiday. So that could also be the reason for consolidation and the reason for um, such low volume and barely any movement as well. We also know not to trade past 11, right? No matter what, you can't trade past 11. Um, I think I can actually put that on Top Step too. There should be a way that I can actually put that on Top Step. I'll have to look at some point. I think there's a way that it's like, okay, um, yeah, risk settings. But either way, oh, trade clock. Okay. But anyway, that's another thing. You don't ever buy at the bottom, which we followed here as well, so that's good. Or buy at the top, right? Regardless. We have to wait for a pullback. We have to leverage appropriately, which we did not do. So a lot of rules broken last night. I know this is a long video. If you're still watching to this point, I appreciate it, but I know that this video is mostly for myself. Um, kind of being kind to myself, but also saying if you continue this, you're not going to get another payout, you know? My goal at the end of this year is to get $25,000 in payouts. Really by the end of November, marking a full year since I started futures trading. We've already gotten a payout, but a payout won't come if we continue something like this, which I know it's one day, it's a one-off, right? But at the same time, like you have to be strict on yourself and not allow it to happen. So yeah, I have a lot of things to improve on. I think I might take tonight off, which is Monday. I might take it off tonight, but also obviously the 30 good trades in a row is done. I'm not gonna restart that series. This is the last episode as well. So thanks for watching. But yeah, I think part of the pressure too is like you have 30 good trades in a row. You're trying to do well on that, it's hard, especially when you have to document it. Not a lot of people are watching, but I know the pressure that I put on myself too to do 30 good trades in a row, and it's still something I will be doing with each and every trade. Um, but at the same time too, it's like when you look at it, oh, 30 trades in a row, it seems so daunting. I think now we just got to focus on one good trade in a row, one good trade in a row, one good trade in a row, and then hopefully that adds up to 30 and eclipses 30 and continues, right? Because trading is 90% psychology, 10% is a technical aspect, but so much of it is consistency and just doing the right thing and not being emotional about it. And that is something that I have learned um, from last night. So I'll start trading the funded accounts again. I don't think I'll be trading tonight. Have a lot of stuff going on, and some of the stuff that I said, about going to the emergency room. There's some other stuff that happened to yesterday as well that I have to take care of today, but um, that's part of life. You have to be able to manage your emotions in life, and it intertwines with trading. So if you like, that's a thing, Vic. Like, if you see that you're emotional, there are things happening, such as like stuff happening at work or stuff happening in your personal life at home, like you have to say, I'm not taking your trade today, regardless, because there will always be another opportunity. And even if a trade kind of fits your criteria but doesn't fully fit your criteria and it starts running in your direction, you don't take it. There will always be another day. These markets are always open. So let's come back stronger. Take a day off. We will take a day off. I will take a day off. Activate these funded accounts, and we'll come back stronger Tuesday night. So, anyway, guys, for anyone watching this far, I appreciate you guys. Thanks for listening to my sort of rant, kind of rant, not really a rant, but explanation as to what happened, as to why I blew my account. Um, this is a really good reminder for myself that we just have to be better, you know, but also to be kind to yourself and to put yourself in a stoic mindset to trade appropriately. We definitely did not do that, but we will get back to doing that. Starting in a day, we'll take a day off and we'll come back stronger. So, anyway, guys, that's it for this video. I appreciate you guys. It's been a very long video, 33-minute video. Um, and I hope that you guys are having a good start to their trading week. I'll catch you guys in the next one and keep trading stoically, something that I did not do last night. We'll bounce back. And even if you're losing, you'll bounce back too. See you guys in the next one.